and welcome my fab fans to Glam's new video. I'm gonna try to finish doing more of this. My hair immediately. The main reason I started with the J, out of all of them, is because over here one of them fell off, which is a thing that can happen. I also hope you know my phone is precariously placed up there, so there is a chance of me just genuinely dropping it. Got the user. I think one of the worst things I've ever learned about America is that despite all of our laws against child labor and stuff, they still somehow manage to find ways to do it within religious context. Just saying it's underneath a religion means you can get away with things. Adults work so children can learn is supposed to be the context of how the world works, but it's not. And it kind of sucks. But to know that people in my generation and the people coming now that are getting born will likely never be able to have any of the same opportunities as the generations before us. Even millennials didn't have a chance, and they couldn't do anything because when the world was getting fucked over, they were too young to do anything or even know about it. And most of the government is propaganda, and they like to hide shit from us. So to find information, we actually have to research. But they keep trying to cut off our communication to the outside world, slowly and surely. We might be free to think, and we might find ways to learn. But I don't think no matter where you go in this entire world, will you ever truly be free. Because there's always something that you're working under. I don't think no matter where we go, we'll ever be truly free. Everywhere has its own issues. And some might argue that there are certain countries you could go to where you'd be free, but like, there's a downfall to living anywhere. And how are you planning to get there? And how are you planning to stay? Because they already have their own people that they have to take care of. They can only take in so many people, and even then, they really don't want to, because they already have their own people to deal with. And they say population isn't increasing, and they say it's such a huge issue, but is it though? Because I'm pretty sure for the cycle of life to work properly, population shouldn't increase, it should stay stagnant and steady. It shouldn't be getting better, like, and more and more and more. It should be in a line and just stay there. The same amount of people should die as being born. That's how nature works. That's how life is supposed to work. But it's not. Which means we're gonna run out of resources. So many people pushing the, you gotta have children, you gotta have a lot, you gotta increase the population. No, you don't. It needs to stay put. In the entire rest of the world, it shouldn't be increasing either. Population isn't supposed to increase. We're supposed to create things to replace us, but not necessarily more than us. Which is why I have such a big issue with pro-life. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's okay to kill children, but I also don't think you should have a child or have any way of having a child if it's not going to live a good life. Because that child is likely going to get murdered anyway, even if it's not by the parent directly. They're going to starve to death, or they're going to suffer. Who knows, maybe the parent is a drug addict and they slept for the for the ability to have drugs. Do you really want a kid to grow up with a drug addict? I'd rather be dead than be stuck with a loveless parent who's going to be on a couch that I have to take care of. But I'd also rather be dead than suffer. It's like the same as, would you trust a rapist with a weak family member? No. You'd hope that rapist gets murdered or is castrated. Which is why I'm more of pro keep the population still. And or execute all of the people over a certain age. Just so we can have people having the ability to survive. Usually when a large amount of deaths, as much as I love my grandmother, I also don't want her to suffer anymore. I don't think she deserves to be alive anymore because she already lived her course. And now she's just in pain constantly, stuck on a couch all alone. Like, sure, she has some friends, but none of them really are happy with their life fully. Like, sure, they're okay and they're comfortable, they're surviving, and they're happy that they have family. But they're also suffering constantly because they're in pain. And the only thing helping them is medicine. And nobody really wants to be attached to a pill bottle 24/7. I mean, even diabetics complain about having difficulties with their medicine. I personally would rather be dead than be constantly suffering. It's basically like saying, stay alive so you can be tortured. Like, no. Who wants to be tortured? And everyone has a different kind of torture. If you're young, if you're alive, keep living, but after a certain point, it just doesn't feel like a good thing anymore for some people. Doesn't it just ever feel like it's pointless? Yeah. But that's kind of how depression feels, is just the lack of anything anymore. Like, every single step you take is meaningless. Or you can't control anything, you can't do anything. You're stuck. in limbo. Life on Earth could be heaven. We have to make it that, though. But so many people are so cruel. I think the irony is I've actually had a really good day today. How far would you go in order to win? Would you climb over every single person and try to use them for your own advantage? Or are you going to find a way to the top without trying to trample anyone? Because I don't think there is a way to the top without climbing over people anymore. But I don't think I can take advantage of others, even if I knew it would help me. I don't want to. I don't want to ask for anything more than just support. Some people think they can buy my time or my attention. That's not fully true. I like having company in general, but I really like just doing my own hobbies for calmness. So I'm listening to a YouTube video right now, and the character in the video game got, like, pregnant by, like, I'm assuming the devil for fame. But her being pregnant lost her the fame and gave it to the next one. And the only way to get her dreams is to kill the child before it's born. Sometimes games are crazy. I still think the greatest thing I said was to my manager was, I mean, you definitely can't be ugly, otherwise why do you have a wife? It's like, I didn't know how to tell this one dude the reason he's single is because he keeps going for girls that are looking for, like, younger looking guys, and he looks like an uncle, and he keeps going for girls rather than aunties. He needs to go for aunties. If you look like an uncle, you need to go for an auntie. Because I'm still more of a sister vibe. Younger sister vibe, specifically. And apparently a lot of people still see me as a child. Because the amount of shit I get away with is a lot. My manager said to me once, the only reason I'm sometimes too honest for this career get it. I'm a very honest person. I try to tell the truth and what I believe to be true. And you can't tell me I didn't see what I've seen. 'Cause I see what I see. Like, no, you're wrong. Then show me the proof that I'm wrong. Just don't just say I'm wrong. Tell me why. I value truth. I completely stopped talking to a person because they kept asking my ex and stuff for my nudes. Pervert. Anyway. The only person you should be asking for those things is the person, and if they say no, accept it, move on, give up. And maybe fall in love with someone your own age. It's probably why you keep having people give you grossed out looks. But also, most of the time, women are just nice to guys because they want them to go away, or they're afraid they're gonna get murdered. The reason a lot of women use the "I have a boyfriend" is because that's the only way they can see a person giving up on trying to pursue them. The amount of women I hear about getting followed to their cars and or stalked, or people looking up their skirts, or watching them as they take off a jacket. Just people staring at them in general for existing. You can't even exist without being bothered if you're a woman. Sometimes if you're a man. There's no winning. But walking to your car alone and immediately having to think about checking under your car before you get to it, and checking the back seat and trunk to make sure nobody's hiding in there, being a thing you have to do every single time you sit in your car, as like a fear thing that you actively have to think about. Checking your seatbelts to make sure they weren't cut. Making sure your tires weren't slashed. These are things that people shouldn't have to worry about. Or someone putting salt in your gas tank. These are things we shouldn't have to worry about happening. But alas, the people who do these things are still just wandering society. Without a guardian to make sure they don't act out. The world has never been a safe place. It's been very dangerous. The entire time I've ever been alive, I've seen so many things and have had to deal with so many things. And a memory I realized I have that I completely buried for the longest time was one of my mom's friends had a son, And while me, my brother, and them were playing hide and seek, they made me touch their dick. This is the thing that actually happened to me. I know what I felt, but I didn't see anything. There was also a point in time where someone stole my pink DS and took a bunch of dick pictures with it. And there was a lot. That camera file was full. I was planning to use my DS to take a picture of a pretty butterfly. And this was before my parents' divorce. Which means this was elementary school age for me. And that's just a few of the many memories that I have just existing. Children are naive, but I was very naive as a kid. And everybody could tell. And nobody helped me be not naive. A lot of people think naivety is really cute. It's really sweet. It's not a good thing to be naive. It just means people are gonna find it way easier to take advantage of you. These are memories I kept buried for years, never thinking about them. But as the world evolves around in chaos, I'm slowly coming to terms with each and every thing I've dealt with, which shows growth and healing. There's actually a point in time where I said, I can't really remember much of my childhood. But that's because of all these memories. These things that happened to me, that scarred me, but I didn't think about it because I didn't want to remember. I didn't want to heal, and I didn't want to do better. And my brain was smart enough to say, let's not deal with this right now. Let's focus on the important things. Let's focus on growth. When I was a kid, the only thing that mattered to me was getting good grades and just passing through school. I was a smart kid, so every assignment was really easy. It didn't challenge me the way I needed it to, which is why I do so much now, is because I like a challenge. I've actually never told anyone about these things before. I never needed to. But now that I'm a content creator, I want other people to be smarter than me. I want people to be less naive. Naivety can kill you. Naivety can harm you. And naivety can let people take advantage of you. One of my first ever fortunes about myself that I ever did when it comes to anything was, in my past lives, I've been stabbed in the back multiple times. Most of my endings have been because of me letting people take advantage of me without knowing. I wouldn't notice. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't ask. Because I don't ask questions. And I never did. And the older I get, the more that I see how many questions you really need to ask. And how quickly you need to bring things up to other people and discuss things. In order for things to get better, you need to talk. So do what people are the best at, and it's just talking. Doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, just talking through things fixes literally everything. Especially if the other person is willing to listen. The amount of people that I've helped through just making sure they would talk, it's been quite a few. Especially because they were willing to, and willing to listen, and willing to answer questions. They were willing to look inward at what could possibly be wrong. The only person you can change is yourself. So you have to see if you're the problem or not. Which is why I tend to back away from certain relationships very easily. Is because I can tell when I'm acting out of line. Sometimes. Does it take me a lot longer? Yes. But I know if I'm gonna be mean or I don't want to talk to a person anymore. I'll let them know why. And then I'm gonna stop talking. But I've had one too many people try to take advantage of me for me to be kind enough anymore. I'm a lot meaner than I used to be. I'm a lot more strict. And I only get stricter as time goes on because I don't think I can trust as much, considering how many people have broken my trust multiple times. I always say I give people 3 chances. If they didn't know the rule in the first place, oh well. But if I did establish the rule, they better fucking listen and remember it and not break it. If a person sees I'm flirty with other people and not them, it's for a reason. I hope you know. It's because I find you repulsive. I can be flirty with people I don't find repulsive. And just because I'm an adult doesn't mean I want people to look at me in a sexual way. I don't. I want to be seen as a person, not an object of desire. I get it, people can be attracted to what they want to be attracted to, but keep in mind, a lot of people still see me as someone who looks underage. So, and also the fact that I dress up as child characters, like children. I remember when I was younger, I used to be like joke posts and trying to do cringe shit by like singing along to these like flirty songs in cosplay as like the adult version of a character. But I don't do that anymore because as funny as it was, I'm only ever going to do that with adult characters now. Because I find it kind of weird to see people fetishizing children. I find it fucking disgusting, actually, but I'm trying to be nice. I shouldn't be. They don't deserve my kindness. Part of healing is realizing you don't have to be nice to everybody. You're allowed to be mean. I just believe you have to have your anger pointed at the right kinds of people. If you love someone, I would try not to get angry at them, you know? Unless they do something truly heinous. Because that's honestly the only thing that would actually stop me from loving someone that I actually currently care about, is if they did something heinous. My mom always says how my dad was an abuser, but maybe emotionally. But he didn't raise his hand to us. But I will say, emotionally is still abuse. A lot of people don't think of abuse in the same way. If you don't like your life how it is and have done everything you could to try to make it something you wanted and it didn't work, even talking didn't, you're allowed to leave. Free will actually means you can just start walking and hope you end up somewhere you want to be. All you need is your identification. The bare minimum of paperwork. And to just leave. The only reason I'm staying where I am is because I have people around me that I do care about, and I'm still getting slightly taken care of. I have to say slightly because I'm emotionally a fucking mess. And I'm alone all the time. But I still have freedom to just disappear if I wanted to. But also, living in general is expensive. There was actually this one couple that my dad borrowed a charger from. They were homeless, but they chose to be homeless. Like, it was an active choice. They didn't want to have a home. They wanted to wander. They didn't want to settle down. They just wanted to keep walking. See where they ended up. Make money along the way. Just enough to survive and afford meals. Sleep wherever. And if it was raining, just keep walking. If they wanted it to be warmer, they'd walk somewhere that the weather was nicer. But at the end, they'd just keep walking. Stop occasionally at homeless shelters for a bed if they needed to. Or sleep on the road. they saved up enough, they'd take a hotel room for a night. Have a gym membership that they could use all across the country, because they have gyms, specific ones, everywhere. And that's where they'd shower, but they would just keep walking. Didn't have a car, didn't have to make money to pay it off and stuff. They just had themselves, and they didn't have jobs. I think one was technically on unemployment, but they just chose to be out of a home. You can't do that if you have a kid, but if you don't have one, what's stopping you from just not trying to be comfortable, but instead just trying to have fun? The grind of just going to work every single day, hoping to save up every single penny in hopes you can live somewhere, has been dead for so long. Doesn't matter what you give up. The only way to actually have something, like a house, is either have a bunch of your family members die, and you just use the insurance and like what they pass down to pay for it, or get a higher paying job. If you make the same amount of pay every single day and you can still barely afford things or be more in debt than when you started, the only thing you're missing is a better job. But that's not necessarily gonna be fun or the best thing. I mean, if you're in debt, you have to try to get out of it. But if you're already in debt, what's stopping you from being more in debt? Absolutely nothing is stopping you from being more in debt. I say this as a person with a decent credit score, by the way. Oh yeah, not to mention I actually have a savings account. But the only reason I can even have those things is because my dad pays my rent. My grandmother owns the house I live in. Like, actually owns it. She's not paying it off or anything. She, like, physically, fully owns it. And all she has to really pay for is, like, taxes. And the rest is just regular bills that my dad has to pay. I live more comfortably than a lot of the people I've met. One of the people I made friends with at con, apparently, not only they work at a fast food chain, but they also don't get free meals. I get my free employee meal every day that I work. She only gets a discount. Domino's, you can do better. Judging you a little bit. Also, Burger King does that to their employees too. They take money out of their paycheck for their employee meal, regardless of if they take it or not. What kind of bullshit is that? Like, I understand not getting paid if you're not on the clock, but taking money out of their check? Regardless of if they took their meal or not? That doesn't seem right. I'd hope I'd like the food, you know? Shit is wild to me. Some of the things I hear happening to people is just bamboozling and so strange. Anyway, peace, love, have a good night, my fab fans, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!